The three words I would use to describe generation are motivated, diverse, and purposeful. So what makes generation graduates unique definitely is the diversity. So we especially saw this when we were interviewing, just the kind of range of backgrounds of different socioeconomic, gender, ethnicities. We interviewed quite a few people who this was kind of like a career change for them, and you wouldn't really see that in kind of other kind of hiring methods that we would typically use. So that was really good, and it just brings a different kind of understanding or different perspective to the workforce. And they also had much more specific data engineering skills compared to, say, our typical grads, or even kind of typical junior software engineers that we might find elsewhere. They really knew a lot more in-depth topics and things about data engineering that we wouldn't typically see through the other means that we use to recruit. So hiring a generation graduate was relatively easy. The candidates, once we had done final interviews and decided who we were going to take on, I think they started within like 2.5 months, which is actually really, really quick for us in the financial services industry. The interviews that we did, first round, we interviewed I think it was like 10 or if not more, and off the back of that then we had a final round where we got the candidates to come into the office. We did a behavior-based interview, we did a technical interview, kind of back to back, so a little bit intense, but we could show them around the office as well. They could get a feel for what it was like to work here. We could get a feel for them. We actually had a really difficult time trying to decide who to choose. Generation help us to solve a few different things, to be honest. So one of them is definitely diversity, so gender, socioeconomic, ethnicities, different backgrounds. Really saw a very wide range of people coming through an interview, and even the ones we ended up hiring, all very diverse in their own way. Another thing that they really help us do is to help recruit in that kind of off cycle of our typical grad programs. We have interns coming in the summer, and then we'll have grads joining kind of August, September, but we don't really have any other junior talent typically coming in the rest of the year. Using someone like Generation to be able to get juniors come in early in the year and have them trained up by the time you have a grad coming in September. The Generation candidate is then training your grad, and maybe the grad from the year before was training the Generation candidate when they came through. So I think it's really important to have kind of that trail of juniors coming in, and they help each other. I would totally recommend Generation. It was really difficult for us to choose what candidates in the final round. They were all really strong, and I know that's a very good position to be in, but I did actually feel really bad because there was so little in it. I actually did reach out to other teams internally then, when we knew that we could only take 2, unfortunately, out of the 5 that we interviewed, to see if anyone else was looking for juniors with those skill sets. Definitely to look at Generation, if they're looking for junior talent, might be off cycle, or if they are looking for very specific skill sets. I think that's one thing Generation does really well.